So I'm gonna make a video today about changing your truck's airbags yourself. It's a pretty easy job. About I'd say it'd take you about an hour if everything goes well. I've already took this loose, but the first thing you'll do is take your leveling valve arm off of the control rod, I believe is what that's called technically. Take that loose. Mine was just held on by this little nut, and then what you want to do is lower it, and that releases the air out of the airbags and flattens the airbags. And so we're going to use, you don't need a jack for this or anything, you're just going to use the truck's airbags to help you out with this, and I'll show you what I mean. Your airbags are held on by these two bolts right here, or nuts on this particular one, and those are just studs that come out of the top of the airbag. And then you got one single one on the bottom, and we'll go down there when it comes time. So what you want to do is you can take these airlines loose, and you don't have to worry about anything coming out of them. And to take airlines loose, I think I've showed this before, it's pretty easy. Just push in on the line. You can hold this little, you know, this is a bigger version. This will collapse down when you push on the line, and you just pull the line out, just like when you go to put air back in the bags, you'll want to, I suggest getting like some wire clamp, or some actual hose clamping pliers. I don't have any of those. I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose vice grips. I probably wouldn't suggest that just because of the materials this airline's made out of. Kind of risking cracking it. So go to Harbor Freight, spend a couple of bucks, get a pair of, probably comes in a set of 3 for like $8 or something like that, some actual hose clamping pliers. And I'm gonna take this one loose. You can see how this works. Just push down on it, this little tab. If there's dirt and stuff in there, you know, it can be a little harder. Before I put these back on, I'm going to you know, blow some air in here, make sure this little coupler is nice and clean before I put this airline in. The same thing with the airline. I'll probably go over it with some emery board, emery cloth or something like that. And you will reuse this airline connector right here, so you can go ahead and take it off. It's easier if you go ahead and take it off while the airbag is still bolted to the truck. That way you can get some leverage on it, and you know, if that's on there tight. That baby out of there, and you can see there's thread tape on this, so we'll clean that up real good and put some more thread tape on it before we install the new one. I'll show you what was going on. So yeah, you can see bottom of these things, I mean, they're just you know, cracked, and you'll get shut down if you you know, run into the wrong scale man. So if you start seeing that, what I do is I have a little sprayer, like a garden sprayer, and I'll fill it up with dish soap and water, and kind of swish it around to make a nice little sudsy mixture, and then spray it on if I hear an air leak, or you know, if I notice the truck losing air over a short amount of time, I'll go and spray it down with with that soapy mixture, and it'll, wherever it's leaking air, will be blowing some bubbles out. You know, that'll help you out a lot. So took the little airline couplers off. I'm going to take these two nuts right here off. Alright, so I got those two nuts off there. The little air line coupler there. And go down to the bottom. There's the nut right there to the bottom of the airbag. And I've already loosened it up, obviously. And it's just a lock nut washer on a long stud that goes up through the middle of this thing, just like that. And we'll set that to the side. So I got the bottom bolt and our stud out of there, those two. Now I'm going to I've got this airline clamped off. That's the supply end, and I'm just going to come over here, raise this leveling valve up. That's going to start putting air back in the bags. Just going to pull that. As the frame goes up, the airbag stays. As you can see, we're just going to raise this thing up. Pretty much normal height of what it would usually ride at. Something like that, and then just kind of find a neutral point in your valve here, something like that, and this bag will just go right off of there. Just like that. Now you got a space where an airbag goes. So I went ahead and just I got my grinder out, and I kind of grinded that back smooth. The rust was kind of crusty on there, and sprayed it with some rust inhibiting paint there. Same on the top. I did that same. Just cleaned it up real nice, make sure it's nice and smooth and flat. And so we're ready for our new airbag. The airbags that I'm using is Road Choice. I got these at a place that's here in Greensboro. I live in North Carolina. I got them in Greensboro, North Carolina, at a place called Transource. There are Peterbilt dealerships, there's MHCs and stuff like that around, but I found this place and I'm really glad I did. They got good prices, way better than you'd find at one of the major shops there. So these were about $159 each or something like that. I've got quoted up to $325 from like the Peterbilt dealership, and that was just for the bag. So here's the numbers that's on it if you need. They can usually just get the last 8 of your VIN or something like that, and you know, set you up, match it to your truck. So now I'm just going to blow this, you know, where it goes up and down in these air little quick fit, I believe, you know, I'm sure there's a more technical name, but quick fit air couplings here that you take off the back. You can see how, you know, dirt and little pieces of gravel and things will get all in there and make it not connect to the airline right. So you want a nice air seal, airtight seal in there. So I'm just going to take the blow gun with some air and blow all around in there, kind of work it back and forth at the same time, and get it nice and clean. Got that little fitting all thread taped up and everything. ready to put back in the new airbag. I'm going to set that to the side for now until we get the new bag on. Like, you know, it's pretty much you're going to do everything in reverse. So I got the leveling valve up where there's air in the bags. On the new bags, you can see they don't have studs in them like the other ones where you put a nut on. So these are 3/8 by 12, I believe, is what the size was. That worked good in here. I use a, you know, I'll put a washer on top, and it actually makes it kind of easier because you don't have to line the studs up. So what I do is I'll put the bottom on first, the bottom nut or stud there, and then I'll, you know, we'll get back to the top. Find a nice neutral point in your leveler where it's not letting air out, but it's not putting air in, and we'll put the stud in. On the driver's side, I replaced those already, probably, I don't know, 6 or 9 months ago, and the reason that I replaced both of them was not for, well, they were still kind of dry rotted and cracked, but the stud came out of the bottom of one of the airbags, and I was backing into a dock, and I heard kapow and saw parts go flying, and the what had happened was the stud came out, and the plastic base, which looks like this, that's inside the bottom of the airbag, just blew to pieces. And so you want to keep an eye on the tightness of all these studs and nuts that you put in these things, because they're always twisting, and you know, there's pressure on them all the time. So you want to keep an eye on those. It's one thing that you want to check. You know, if it's just during the weekend or something, just go under there with a wrench and just make sure they're all tight. So I'll put a teeny dab of some blue Loctite on it. So I got my bolts all tightened up, and now we're just going to spin this thing around and line those top holes up. Get one in there. You know, play around with this leveling valve because it may be leaking down, you know, at the same time, and you know, it'll help you out a lot, just be able to maneuver around where you need to. Now the frame is a little higher than the airbag, and that's, you know, going to cause it to kind of be at an angle. So I'm just going to let some air out. Flatten it out a little bit. time. Bring it down. Okay, so you get my phone for the rest of the video. My GoPro went dead on me. So yeah, so now it's time to do the front airbag, and it's pretty much, you know, the same. It's just a little tighter because it's under the fifth wheel there, and you know, it's a little just a little tight. I'll just crawl in between, right in there, pop up in there, and you know, pretty much the same thing. You know, lower the airbags to begin with, take the bolts loose, take the air fitting connector off, and then raise the airbags back up, let the airbag fall out. Alright, so here we are. And you can see kind of where I'm positioned at in the truck. I just kind of put my head on this other airbag on the other side, use it as a little pillow. And yeah, I'll take these nuts off here. So yeah, take these two nuts off, loosen your hairline fitting there, put that in your pocket, and come down to the bottom and take your bottom stud out, just like that. We'll lay that to the side. Now we'll go over here, go back up top, and raise the airbags back up and let that some bitch fall out of there. Raise that up. Gonna supply air to the bags there. That air rushing out noise is the where I didn't take the. This line runs through that front one right there, and I didn't block it off. That's what the noise is. But hopefully, we got enough in there. As you can see, the baby just falls right out. We're gonna get the new one. So do this front one, you know, it is easier to do with some help, so that they can control this leveling valve for you. You know, you need to go up and down, especially working the bolts in. And so I don't have any help right now, so I'm just going to find kind of a space in there, a point to where it will it'll stay and not be drifting down. You'll you know, you can kind of feel it and see it drifting down a little bit, and you don't want that, because you will smash the shit out of your fingers, and you'll be caught up between the truck and an airbag with your old digits there. So we don't want that. So I went ahead and got Brandy to help me. You know, I let her control the leveling valve while I put the bag in and line the bolts up and everything. And you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. You know, if you're any kind of mechanical person, or you know, you just like fixing stuff or whatever, then you know, you can do it. It's pretty easy. You know, just I would say the biggest thing is don't smash your fingers in between the frame and the airbag when you're trying to put it on. That can be pretty bad. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty simple. You know, take the bolts out, take the airlines off,
take the air fittings off, put the bolts back in, you know, line them up. The front one, you know, like I say, it's a little easy, it's a little harder because of you know, lining the bolt holes up really, and that's really the hardest part. Um, but if you got somebody to help, it's a lot easier. That way you don't have to keep climbing out from one, you know, from under there, move the leveling valve, climb back under there, move the leveling valve the other way. You know, get somebody to just control the leveling valve for you, nice and gently, you know, up and down when you ask them to, and you know, it's pretty simple. So that's how you change your airbags on your truck. It's pretty simple. You can do it yourself. You don't have to spend $1,000 at one of these dealerships to get them to do it. Just do it yourself. And hope it helped a lot of you out. And yeah, so if you have any comments or suggestions or you know, advice for me or anybody else that would be doing this, feel free to drop it in the comment section. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I'm gonna start putting out a lot more content. And yeah, so until then, let's truck it.